Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Marketing Dave here at Marketing Ideas for Printers, and welcome to our bi-weekly webinar titled Sell More Printing with MI4P. I am Marketing Dave here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. For those of you guys who don't know me, there are two Daves, and Dave Halton is certainly the president of the company. Well, I'm who they call Marketing Dave here inside of the company. So if you could, before we get too far into our webinar today, if you could go into your chat box as a part of your dashboard and just type in whether you can hear me or not, that would be super helpful to me. I want to make sure that I'm coming across clearly and that you can see what I'll be sharing and also hear me based on what I'm saying. So if you could, I'll just give you a few seconds to go in the chat box and tell me if what I'm talking about is loud and clear. And if it's not, I will certainly adjust. But audio technical difficulties are always part of every webinar, and I like to tackle those up front to make sure we don't have any snafus as it goes forward. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 replies. It looks like I am good to go. Okay. Well, a couple things before we get too far into this as well. It looks like my audio and video is coming across clearly, and you guys should be able to see what I'm sharing as a part of my webinar today. Again, if you cannot see what I'm sharing, please let me know, and we'll reach out to you afterwards and make sure that you get the content that we talk about today. So this webinar will be recorded. We're going to publish this to our YouTube page afterwards, and we'll be emailing this out to all of the people who registered. If you have a coworker or cohort or a colleague or somebody in the print industry who's like, man, I should really learn about some of these marketing tips and tricks, the digestible things that the guys at Marketing Ideas for Printers are talking about, feel free to have them get in touch with us. They can send me an email at dave.scott@mi4p.com. That's dave.scott@mi4p.com. So if you have anybody who wants to get in touch with us afterwards and wants to have a conversation about this, if they couldn't be on the webinar today or for some reason that they just can't watch the webinar recording, have them reach out to us and we'll share this knowledge with them. So that being said, we're going to dive in. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise them in the chat box. I'll answer them as we go. We've only got about 30 minutes today on the webinar, which is by design. Each one of these bi-weekly webinars are meant to be short and sweet and succinct and super focused about a topic that can ideally help your printing business sell more printing to your print buyers. So today, the very first week, we're going to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. We just got back from Print 18, as a lot of you know, and we had a ton of really deep, authentic conversations around MIS and the struggles in that industry. And as you all know, we produce an award-winning MIS called Odyssey. And a lot of those conversations were so deep, and we're talking about resources and pain points as it relates to those things. So we thought, man, what can we do today to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted? What can we talk about that is digestible and that gives them really helpful content to run their business and sell more printing? So today we're going to talk about Facebook, and we're going to talk about social media. It's one that's come up in conversation a lot recently, especially after we're having conversations with folks after Print 18, and we're going to dive in and talk about engagement. So again, that's what the topic of conversation is going to be today. So there's a couple things that you have to understand about social media, and specifically about Facebook. It is really all about one word, and that one word is engagement. That's the only thing that Facebook cares about. And I'll tell you a little bit about what engagement is here in a little bit, so you can clearly identify, hey, what is engagement? What do I got to do to get it, and what does that look like? So engagement is really about three things. It's about likes, comments, or shares. So I'm going to go to my Facebook page, our company Facebook page here in a second, and I'm going to show you a little bit about literally what that looks like. So as you're approaching your Facebook content, your Facebook strategy, as you're posting, whether you utilize our add-on services at MI4P, we have an add-on service, a social media service that sends you pre-created content that you can leverage each and every day. Whether you're using that or posting organically, what you're going to want to understand is that Facebook and social media is not about selling. It's really about connecting with people and building community and sharing content that touches on two things, that is humble and helpful, and humble and helpful. So whether that's content about a new digital printer that you might have received, whether it's a video, whether it's an image, whether it's something cool and inspiring, each piece of content that you share on Facebook needs to be measured on those two criteria. Is it humble and is it helpful? Humble is not stuff that's super salesy or about you. Humble is really stuff that's about how you can solve problems for your print buyer. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what that looks like. So if I go to Facebook today, what you'll see is you'll see content that we post to our business Facebook page. And engagement is like I said, the only metric that Facebook really cares about. And it's the only reason that the metric that they cares about, because their algorithm is so focused on taking content and putting in front of your audience that stuff that gets better engagement tells their algorithm and tells Facebook that this is the stuff that they need to get more in front of your audience. So the other thing to consider as you go through this is not only engagement, but how you increase the value of your content so that it gets in front of more people. So getting back to the engagement conversation, it's really about a like, a comment, or a share. So engagement defined in Facebook's world is anything that fits this 3 criteria. If you're posting things that don't get any engagement at all, that's a problem, right? So you're going to want to slowly come up with some sort of strategy or plan to fix that. So you want to have to come up with a plan where people are liking, commenting, or sharing your content. That's the first thing that you want to focus on, is how do you get better engagement. So one of the ways that we tell printers that they can get better at getting better engagement in their social media content is really by understanding that you have a captive audience inside of your print business, right? So if you have 2, 5, 10, 20, 25, 30 employees, you have a captive audience. You have your employees and your team members inside of your print business that should be, in theory, liking, commenting, or sharing on your Facebook page on a regular basis. So the easiest and fastest way to get better engagement when you're posting things is to really go on Facebook, tell your team members, your employees, to go ahead and like it, comment it, or share it. And when we say comment or share, it's a little bit more intrusive. Some people are a little bit private about what they share on Facebook, which I totally get, especially in today's digital age where it seems like everything is shared online, right? One of the things you just want to have them do and encourage them to do is just like it, right? So if you put a really cool picture out here, or you put a really awesome video, just tell your team to like it. It's that simple, right? And as the admin of our Facebook page, as you can see, when I share here, it shows as me as our MI4P Facebook page. But I'm just going to go back here and click on and change that profile type to me personally, and then like it. So now we have 3 people that have liked this image. And if I go down a little bit more, we're going to see that it looks like we published an article on October 22nd, 10:54 in the morning. Really cool image with a link, right? So no engagement. Super bad. We want to make sure that we have all of the engagement pieces lined up so that we're getting likes, comments, or shares. So that's the first thing you want to focus on as you try to improve your Facebook content. Now, Social Media Examiner, which is the largest social media marketing think tank in the world, they're based in San Diego, they said a couple years ago that less than 1 to 5% in their data and their research, less than 1 to 5% of your total followers on Facebook actually see the content that you're publishing on a daily basis. So, for example, if I go up to the top of our page, we have, as a company, 420 likes on the MI4P Facebook business page, right? So if I do my math, less than 1 to 5% of those 420 people are actually going to see the content that I'm sharing. So let's do some math, because I'm a marketer and I'm bad at math. And let's see what 5% of that is, 21. That's a really low number, right? So how do you get that number higher, right? And as a business owner, that's the question. As a marketer, that's the question you should be asking yourself is, now that we understand what engagement is and we know how important that is to Facebook, how do we increase the amount of content so it gets in front of all of our followers or the majority of our followers? Well, there's no right way or wrong way to do that. Unfortunately, there's not a silver bullet, although I wish there was. The easiest way that we know how to do that, what we tell the most successful printers and what they do, is they will go ahead and focus on that engagement piece of getting likes, comments, or shares. And over time, you program Facebook's algorithm to tell you, hey, they're getting a lot of comments, shares, or likes. They're getting a lot of engagement from their Facebook posts. We should go ahead and change our algorithm to get them more emphasis. Therefore, it's going to get shown in a lot more individuals just like this. So over time, the theory is, and what I've seen is in my research, is that you'll get it in front of more than 21 people. It'll be 50 people or 100 people or 200 people or whatever that looks like. And Facebook Insights will also give you a little bit of insight and data based on how many people reached, on how many impressions were in front of those eyeballs when you do publish your Facebook content. So again, it's about engagement. That's the first step. The second step, how do you get more engagement? Utilize your captive audience with your internal employees and team members. That's the second thing that you want to do, is leverage them, lean on them, ask them to like, comment, or share your content. And then certainly as you promote it in front of your print buyers, that's also going to be really important as well. And all the things we're talking about here today, by the way, are what I call organic Facebook content. Now there's a paid methodology. We'll talk about that on a different webinar on a different week. But today we're just talking about pure organic. So engagement, like, comment, or share. How do you get more likes, comments, or shares? Ask your internal team members, ask friends, ask colleagues, ask friends and family members to like, comment, or share on your content. And then from there, like I said, you definitely want to understand the nuances of Facebook, especially knowing that they're putting your content in front of less than 1 to 5% of your total audience, according to Social Media Examiner, circa 2017. And they did like a year's worth of studies, and that's what they found. So the other thing to consider is what type of content that you're posting, right? So going back to Social Media Examiner, they had a really interesting study that they did over the last year, and they published video to Facebook's video platform, which is called Facebook Watch. And I won't get too far into that because I don't 100% fully understand it. It's essentially think of it as Netflix on Facebook. And they published a weekly video series called The Journey. Well, they took The Journey down last week because they weren't getting the results that they wanted from it. And what they found was Facebook is again adjusting their platform to not support long form video content. So videos that are over 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 15, 20 minutes, that type of video is not the sort of content that Facebook is promoting on a regular basis. So if you're promoting a lot of really long form content, a lot of content that is longer than 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes each, it's not the kind of stuff that's going to get into your audience in front of them on a regular basis. So as you're producing the type of content, as you're posting on Facebook, one of the things you want to understand is that nuance. So if you're posting videos, if you're creating videos, they definitely need to be short form content, and because that's the kind of content that Facebook is saying, we want really short, succinct stuff, and we're going to promote that type of content better in front of your audience over long form video content. So as we post, we're just simply posting, as you can see here, and I'm just using our page as an example. We're posting some images with links. Here's one here, here's one here, here's another one here. And this will, again, the insights, which is above each post in your Facebook admin dashboard, will also tell you this. So you want to utilize images. You want to leverage images as much as you can inside of your Facebook posts. One of the things that you don't want to do is just post random links or just random copy or text. Again, you want to think of it in terms of putting yourself in the shoes of your print buyer. So what are they going to find relevant? What are they going to find that's going to resonate with them if your content happens to come across their newsfeed, assuming that they like or follow your page? So engaging content, engaging images, and things of that nature. I'm going to show you some really cool insights that we got from the videos that we published during Print 18. And we published a series of videos. I went live on Facebook Live for, I think, 2 or 3 days straight. And it was just really interesting to see the engagement from some of those videos. Ignore my goofy bald head. And I'm not going to force you to watch this video, by the way. But if I go to the engagement, what we saw was there's 10 pieces of engagement to this one video, and there were about 90 people reached. So 90 people out of the 420 is a pretty good metric. That's a pretty good amount of folks that actually saw this video and engaged with it. And again, the definition is a like, a comment, or a share. And there were about 44 views on that specific Facebook Live video. And it was very short. It was like less than a minute, or about 1:05 here actually is what it was. And it was just talking about why people should come see us. I talked about our promotion a little bit, and then we went from there. Let me go to this other Facebook Live video that we did the next day while we were at Print 18. Same thing, we had about 86 people reached. We had 21 different pieces of engagement. And that, again, that's the kind of content that you want to have inside of, or the kind of engagement that you want to have in your Facebook content. So video, short form video, very powerful in Facebook world. And if I go even back here and look at some of our other videos, Dave has done This Week in Odyssey, a promo teaser video that he did a while back. And again, this one got some nice engagement too, right? So we had 2 shares, a couple pieces of engagement here, and away we went. And we had about 85 views on that specific video. So that's the type of content that you want to be sharing and looking to share on your Facebook page. So just a quick recap, and then we'll move on to the next point. We talked about engagement. So everything that you're doing should be about that one metric, It should be about engagement all the time. Whatever you're publishing, you want to get some sort of like, comment, or share from it. The other thing you want to focus on is the fact that Facebook is not going to put your content in front of more than about 1 to 5% of your followers. So your goal should be really to amplify that or optimize that so it is getting in front of more folks on a regular basis. And then the third thing is really the type of content to share and what it looks like. So engaging images, short form video are some really good things to share on a regular basis. The other thing I would tell you too is when you're leveraging Facebook, one of the questions that I've gotten from a couple of print owners as CEOs is they're like, Dave, how can we track this or get an ROI from it? How do we see that we're actually getting people that click on our Facebook page and go to our website? That's what we want to see. We want them to drive our print buyers and our print prospects to our website to take a look at how we can serve them and help them. That's a great question. So what you want to do is you want to have a button set up on your Facebook page. So we have a button here, and it's just a contact us button. And what it does is it will actually take, in our case, we're trying to target printers, not print buyers, but it will take them to our homepage on MI4P.com or whatever landing page that we want to drive them to. So you want to make sure that this button is reflective of the fact that you want to drive them to your website. And if we go here as an example, what we're doing is we're driving them to MI4P.com, or Marketing Ideas for Printers, and this is what they're seeing as they're clicking on from our Facebook page. So we know that if we put up a piece of engaging content and a printer's like, hey, I want to get in touch with you guys, or I want to learn a little bit more about how you can help, they click on this Contact Us button, it takes them to our homepage. So those are a couple of other things that you want to make sure that you set up correctly on your Facebook page. And then all of the links, so as we're talking about ROI and a result, all of the links that you're posting to your Facebook page as well, again, should be either driving them to a link that builds trust and credibility with your buyer, or that takes them to your website. So if I click on this link, it should take us to our website or a GoToMeeting. Here we're advertising our promotion for this webinar today, and this is actually driving them to a registration page, which is the call to action that we wanted them to take. So again, you want to make sure that you align your messaging with where you want them to go based on what you want them to do with the content that they're getting on Facebook. So I'll open it up for some questions here, and then I will dive into the last couple of points, and then we will wrap things up because we're finishing up in the last 9 or so minutes. So if there's any questions, oh, here's a question. Dave, this is all great, but can I track this in some sort of analytics? Yes, that is a great question. So Rob asked that question. So you can actually see in Google Analytics or inside of your website analytics dashboard, the one that we use here and that we set up for printers is through Google. You can actually see how many people come to your page from social media in Google Analytics. And I will send out a link on how to do that after the webinar today so you all can learn and do that for yourselves. We don't give analytics services here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. We're not a marketing agency, but we can give you the tools and show you how that you can do that. So that was a great question, Rob. So you absolutely can. You can actually see how many people are clicking on this type of content to your website by going and checking that in Google Analytics. All right. Does hashtags help with engagement in Facebook? Another great question. Does hashtags help with engagement on Facebook? Not really. That's a phenomenal question too. I love that question. So you can use hashtags if it's a trending hashtag, like we used Print18 when we were hashtag Print18 when we were one of the premier sponsors there last month, and we utilized that and leveraged it a little bit. It's really hard to measure whether you get a result from it. The mediums that you want to leverage hashtags for are primarily going to be Instagram and Twitter. So use hashtags a lot on Instagram and Twitter. It's not super duper relevant on Facebook. Facebook is not a hashtag driven platform. And the hashtags were actually started on Twitter way back when, and it was simply a way that they categorized content so people could find and see what's trending. So, you know, we'll just take politics as the landscape. I know Grandma always said you never talk religion or politics at the dinner table or on webinars, but I'll go there and talk about it today. But if you want to trend and find out, you know, the local politics or the local political landscape in your community, you can actually go to Twitter and type in, you know, hashtag Democrat, hashtag Republican, hashtag red wave, hashtag, you know, just pick your phrase and put it in there. And that hashtag, if somebody else is using that, will essentially bring up all of the newest and latest stories, so you can find what you're looking for based on that hashtag right away without having to spend a whole lot of time searching it. So in the Print 18 example, if I'm a vendor or if I'm a printer and I'm on Twitter and I'm like, I don't want to scroll through my news feed for the next, you know, 20 hours and see the latest, coolest stuff, I'm just going to type in the hashtag in Twitter and see hashtag Print 18 and see what comes up first, and then away I go. And that's the way that you can leverage it. And I'll see if I can show you guys an example of that now. I'll just log into my personal Facebook page or my personal Twitter account, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so if I go into and I type in, let's go hashtag Print 18, and we'll see what comes up. So back at Print 18, again, which is a little over a month ago now, I'll be able to see all of the newest articles, tips, tricks, and trends based on how I leverage that hashtag or what the hashtag is I use, and based on how Twitter leverages that content. So it's just a way that they first utilize hashtags to categorize content. So I'll be able to see that here. And again, you can choose whatever the topic you want. I just happened to pick one that was germane to the print industry, which is what we're talking about today. You can literally go in and choose whatever hashtag that you want there. So that was a really great question. Okay, Facebook is always trying to get me to boost my post. From time to time, I do if I'm advertising a product, so it gets in front of more eyes. Is there another reason to boost a post? And that was asked by Derek. Great question, Derek. And the short answer is no, you're doing it the right way. So what we're talking about today is organic content and how to leverage Facebook organically, right? So how to utilize your employees and your friends and your family by liking, comment, or sharing your Facebook posts over a long period of time will get your content organically if you do that in front of more of your audience on a regular basis. So that's on the organic side of it. And everything that we've talked about previously to right now has been just our Facebook organic. If you want to do it from a paid perspective, boosting posts is a really great way to just boost something that is performing really well, right? So you don't want to boost a Facebook post that is not performing well at all. So I'm going to go here, and so we'll just take one of ours as an example. And our content manager, Rachel, who I'm not sure if she's on the webinar today, she might beat me up afterwards for this, so I'll ask for forgiveness now, Rachel. But this Facebook post didn't get any likes or comments or shares, right? And that's okay. That'll happen from time to time. It's not a reflection on me, Rachel, or anybody else. It's just the way it is. So if I have a Facebook post that's not performing well, you're probably not going to get an email alert from Facebook like you normally do, where Facebook actually tells you to go ahead and boost this post, right? You'll actually get an email notification from them or to the person who's your Facebook admin saying, hey, Derek or Bob or Rachel or Dave, this Facebook post is trending well, it's performing well, and people inside of your industry, you should go ahead and boost it. Now, keep in mind, Facebook just wants to take your money, right? They're an ad platform, and that's how they generate revenue. So always keep that in mind. And I'm not trying to be negative, that's just the God's honest truth. These platforms do want your money, and they want you to spend advertising dollars. So just use prudence and discretion as you choose to boost your Facebook posts. But you're going to want to choose something ideally that is already performing well. So I'm going to go down and see if I can find a couple of Facebook posts and give you an example of what that looks like. Okay, so here's one. One was liked actually by ourselves, and then Banyan Printing liked this article. Not too good, not too bad, but that might be one I consider boosting. And if I go down here, I'm going to see if I can find another one. Here we go. 71 people reached, 8 engagements. This is actually a pretty popular one. And this was an article, a blog piece that Rachel and our content team wrote that is on our website on MI4P.com. And you can check it out if you want. And it's how to win customers through emotional marketing. It was a really great blog piece. So that one is based on these metrics, based on this data, is a Facebook post that I would consider boosting. And really, to Derek's point, it's really about just boosting it to get in front of more eyeballs, right? So think of things like a coupon code, or if you have e-com, or if you have, or MIS software like Odyssey on your website, and you want to drive people to your order forms on your website, great way to do it. Publish something like a coupon code, publish an incentive, and put it on Facebook. And if you're getting some really good traction from it, boost it, because that's something that you definitely want to get in front of more people. So Derek, that was a great question. I hope I answered your question okay. This is another one too, right? We talked about sign up and learn more about how to claim your savings. We had a really, really aggressive promotion going into Print 18 and during Print 18, and we published a link where printers could go and sign up and learn more about it. And then we also had 8 different types of engagement. 6 people liked it, loved it, or commented or shared it, and then it reached about 57 people. So this would be a really good example of something to boost if we could boost it. So I will go ahead and start wrapping things up here over the next few minutes. If there's any other questions, feel free, keep them coming. You guys asked some really great questions. So again, just to recap what we talked a little bit about today in our first of our bi-weekly series about digestible tips and tricks on how to sell more printing inside of your business. Facebook really only cares about one thing, engagement. So get more likes, comments, or shares to your Facebook page. How do you do that? The best way to do that is to simply ask your employees, your team members, friends, and family to like your page or like some of the content. That's the easiest way. After that, certainly ask print buyers to do that in the same way. And also, just again, to recap, the third point we talked about was Facebook is not putting a lot of your content in front of the bulk of your followers and people who like your page. So you're going to want to make sure that you get your content and that you understand the methodology behind it. They're only putting your content in front of about 1 to 5% of all of your followers. So the best way to change that is by getting more engagement, right? Is getting more engagement. The last piece that we talked about is just about what sort of content to promote and what sort of content to share. You want to share anything that's engaging, colorful photos, short form video like we talked about earlier. Don't do long form video. Focus on those types of things. Colorful images. Don't just put bland, plain text. You definitely want to have a strategy and post content that is talking about things that resonate well with your print buyer and your print audience. So those are the 4 and 5 things we talked about today on how to leverage Facebook to sell more printing inside of your business. Again, this webinar is going to be recorded. We'll be putting it up on our YouTube page shortly. If you have any questions, just hit us up at MI4P.com. And again, if you have a question for me directly, if you want to learn a little bit more about how you all can impact and sell more printing by just having some conversations with our sales team, we're totally open to that all the time. Just shoot me an email at dave.scott, that's dave.scott at mi4p.com, and we can schedule time to go over some of those things. Lastly, a shameless plug. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that under the marketing category on our website, we do have a social media add-on. It starts at $50 a month, and you can try it out for 30 days. It's a 30-day free trial. So what does it do? Like it says here, our whole point of our add-on service is really to help you achieve better customer service, give you more control over your reputation, increase trust and credibility, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and we talked about generating more website traffic to your regular business page. So take a look at it here. We've got some samples. You can actually take a look at what that content looks like. It starts at about $50 a month. There's a small setup fee that we do charge to get you set up with our social media add-on. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to mess with it and want to have somebody do this for you and create content for you on a daily basis, that's a great add-on. It's very low risk and low cost to printers. So with that said, we are at 31 minutes. Oh, we have one more question. Let me see if I can tackle it. Oh, I'm sorry. It starts at $19 a month with no setup fee. Rachel just corrected me. So we have the social media add-on starts at $19 a month, no setup fee. Again, very low risk, very nice and simple for your print business to set up. So with that, we'll bid you adieu. If you have any other questions, check us out on the web at mi4p.com. Again, this webinar is recorded. It'll be on our Facebook page shortly, and then we'll be sending out the notes that you all can take back to your print businesses to start executing on these tips and tricks on how to sell more printing inside of your print business. I'm Marketing Dave here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. Thanks for joining us on today's webinar, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.